Chapter 20 is the story of U.S. involvement in World War I. The U.S. fought on the side of the Allies, that's the British, the French, and the Russians, during the war, and fought for issues that many Americans described as being just peripheral. We fought for freedom of trade, the freedom of the seas, and some other theoretical issues. In fact, in some ways you can see the First World War as a great progressive cause. But, as you read the chapter, the three main themes that you should keep in mind. Number one, America's road to involvement in World War I. We were a little late getting into it. Number two, how the Americans fought once they got into the war. And then number three, how America changed its roles at home and abroad as a result of participation in the war.
Today, I'm in Laclede, Missouri, home of General John J. Pershing. Pershing grew up here as a young man, but his military career took him to places all across the world, including Manila in the Philippines, Juarez in northern Mexico, and eventually the fields of France as the Commander-in-Chief of the American Expeditionary Forces in World War I.
The Americans got into World War I a little bit late, entering officially in 1917. Much of the warfare took place in trenches, and museums like the Illinois Military Museum here in Springfield and the Big Red One Museum up in Chicago have good dioramas of the trenches and the kind of fighting conditions that soldiers would have faced.
Hi folks, today I'm at the Federal Arsenal in Rock Island, Illinois. The arsenal was built in 1867 and still serves as an active duty station today. The museum holds examples of many of the products that the arsenal has produced and warehoused over the years. The most active the arsenal ever was in production of arms was during World War I. It manufactured the 1903 Springfield rifle. Later on in World War II, it actually had its peak of activity, but it was manufacturing gun carriages and things like that. The arsenal today can be visited, and the museum is a warehouse for all of the activities that have taken place on this site since the period after the Civil War.
Even though the United States was only in World War I for a year and a half, they managed to get over 4 million men into uniform and suffered 100,000 killed during combat. World War I, though, was also sort of a coming out party for American military power globally. After the war, even though the United States wasn't interested in taking a leading role in global politics, it was known as a world power and one that was going to have to be reckoned with in any future big dealings. So, once again, as you look at Chapter 20, the important points to keep in mind. Number one, what the Europeans would say was America's very slow road to involvement in World War I, at least the Allies. Number two, how Americans fought once they were involved in the war. And then finally, number three, the changes that take place in America as a result of the war. So long. I'll see you for Chapter 21.